Sometimes archaeologists discover amazing and strange artifacts that leave researchers puzzled. These finds are often impossible to explain as they are ahead of their time, and the method of their creation remains unclear. Did our ancestors receive help from time travelers, or did these objects appear thanks to extraterrestrial civilizations? Let's look at some of the strangest artifacts found on our planet that baffle experts and ignite our imagination. Here are 15 ancient artifacts that we can say might be from the future. When we hear the word Vikings, we imagine the image of an ancient warrior instilling fear with his power and strength. But their might is not the only thing the Vikings are remembered for. One of the greatest things they left behind is the Viking sword, Ulfbert. This sword was made from such pure metal that archaeologists are baffled. It is believed that such smelting technology only appeared during the Industrial Revolution. But how could such a sword have been forged more than 800 years before the technology capable of creating something similar was invented? Swords of this caliber were not supposed to exist until the Industrial Revolution, and yet they were forged by the Vikings themselves. About 170 such swords have been found, all dating from 800 to 1000 AD. These swords can be identified among found artifacts by the inscription Ulfbert, along with 2 crosses, a hallmark left by blacksmiths when forging this unique weapon. It is assumed that Ulfbert himself was the founder of the weapon workshop. To produce high-quality steel, iron was needed, which was simply not available in medieval Europe. However, experts speculate that the iron was most likely imported from the Middle East, with the Vikings exchanging it for furs and other goods. Upon arrival in Europe, the metal underwent thermal processing, annealing. The main distinguishing feature of Ulfbert's sword is the absence of slag, impurities. The steel used to forge the Great Master's swords was more akin to modern samples and contained 3 times more carbon than other examples. This fact makes these blades a mystery to this day. The maker of Ulfbert apparently possessed some magical abilities. This weapon was an astonishing and perfect alloy that could bend without breaking, remain light, sharp, and resistant to blows. The blade far surpassed other weapons made at that time. Just imagine the owners of Ulfbert breaking their enemies' swords on the battlefield, leaving their opponent weaponless. The warriors wielding these swords undoubtedly dominated the battlefield across Europe. Take a look at these tiny artifacts. What do you see? If you think they look like miniature replicas of airplanes, you are absolutely right. This artifact, discovered in northern Colombia, is believed by archaeologists to have belonged to the Quimbaya, a pre-Columbian civilization between 300 and 1000 AD. Finding ancient artifacts made of gold is not uncommon, but their unique design has made them the subject of numerous conspiracies and theories since their discovery. Archaeologists believe that these artifacts depict animals observed by the ancient civilization, possibly insects, birds, or fish. However, biologist Sanderson and Dr. Arthur Poisel concluded that these objects do not resemble any known animals with wings or fins. Moreover, these tiny Columbian artifacts have characteristics that are more mechanical than biological. As a result, many have suggested that these gold figurines represent models of jet airplanes that are at least 1,000 years old. One of the artifacts even has wings and a cockpit, like modern airplanes. Even more astonishingly, researchers created scale models of these artifacts and found that they could indeed fly. Do these artifacts indicate that ancient civilizations had technology? Or did our ancestors have contact with extraterrestrials? We hope that science will be able to unravel the mysteries of pre-Columbian finds and provide answers to these questions. The Drapa stones are a collection of 716 circular stones, believed to be over 12,000 years old. Each of these stones contains hieroglyphic symbols and is thought to be one of the few pieces of evidence of extraterrestrial visits to our planet. The Drapa stones were allegedly found in 1938 by a group of researchers in the Bayan Karaula Mountains. In these mountains, numerous caves were discovered, which turned out to be ancient tombs. Each of them contained the remains of beings with elongated skulls, as well as unusual stone discs, reminiscent of modern compact discs. Each disc was about 1 centimeter thick and 30 centimeters in diameter. The discs had a hole in the center, and mysterious inscriptions were scattered across their surfaces. The message on the discs was partially deciphered only in 1962 by Professor Tsum Nui of the Beijing Academy of Sciences. However, he was strongly advised not to disclose the results of his research. According to the professor, the discs contained information about the crash of an alien spacecraft in the Bayan Kara Ula range about 12,000 years ago. The beings traveling on this ship called themselves Dropa. The inscriptions also mentioned that the beings were unable to repair their craft and were forced to remain on Earth. Professor Tsum Nui did not follow the recommendations and published his research, for which he was expelled from the Beijing Academy of Sciences and forced to flee to Japan. His works were declared a forgery, and almost all the discs were destroyed. After that, the study of the Dropa stones was suspended, and they were forgotten for a long time. Interest in the stones was revived when an Austrian engineer photographed 2 discs in one of the Chinese museums that were very similar to those found in 1938. After the photographs were published, the discs mysteriously disappeared from the museum. The mystery of the Dropa stones remains unsolved to this day. Perhaps it is just a fabrication created to fuel conspiracy theories about aliens, or someone is limiting our knowledge about these mysterious stones, and we may never know the truth. Join our channel to immerse yourself in the fascinating world of mysteries and enigmas that keep you on edge throughout the video. Stay tuned for the latest news and incredible stories you may not have even heard of. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next episodes, and we continue. It is astonishing how little we know about ancient civilizations. While all the attention is focused on studying ancient Rome and Egypt, few know that between 500 and 950 AD, an ancient civilization of the Andes, Tiwanaku, existed on the shores of Lake Titicaca in modern-day Bolivia. This unique culture began as a small settlement of landowners and turned into a great empire that expanded its borders exclusively through peaceful means, without wars and the use of weapons. Although Tiwanaku has long disappeared, it left behind an impressive complex that continues to baffle scientists, Puma Punku. This temple complex remains one of the most mysterious ancient sites to this day. At first glance, Puma Punku now appears to be no more than a collection of unusual stone ruins weathered by time. However, scholars believe that these ruins were once an astonishing creation of the unique Tiwanaku culture. The most intriguing aspect of Puma Punku is its stone masonry, made from red sandstone and andesite. The edges of these stones are cut with such precision as if diamond tools were used, and their joints are so perfect that even with today's advanced technology, it would be extremely difficult to achieve such accuracy. This makes one wonder if these people received help from someone from the future or from beyond. Some believe that the ancient inhabitants of Puma Punku possessed advanced technologies that were later lost, possibly power tools or even lasers. The stones of Puma Punku are colossal in size. The largest block weighs approximately 131 tons. It is believed that the blocks of red sandstone were transported from a quarry located near Lake Titicaca, about 10 kilometers from the construction site. The method of transporting these massive blocks remains a topic of debate, especially since Puma Punku is situated at an altitude of over 12,000 feet, about 3,660 meters. Even if the ancient builders somehow managed to lift the stones to such a height, how did they cut precise straight lines into the stone? What tools did they use to create such perfect edges? So many questions and no answers. One thing we know for sure, Puma Punku is an incredibly mysterious place, and it is definitely worth further exploration. Teotihuacan is an ancient city-state in Mexico. It was one of the first great cities in the Western Hemisphere, and it continues to amaze and baffle people around the world to this day. It is said that the city was built by hand more than 2,000 years ago, and yet no one knows how it was built, who lived there, and where these people mysteriously disappeared. The city had thousands of residential complexes, intricate and well-planned roads, and even dozens of pyramid temples comparable to those in Egypt. Teotihuacan was built as a ceremonial complex around 2 majestic structures, the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, connected by the so-called Avenue of the Dead, leading to other parts of the city. This constitutes only 10% of the city's total area. Researchers estimate that the Great City covered an area of 36 square kilometers and had a population of at least 125,000 residents. It is quite difficult to believe that such a complex city was built by an unknown civilization between 100 BC and 400 AD, and yet this mighty city-state somehow fell into ruins and was suddenly abandoned by its people. Teotihuacan is a puzzle waiting to be solved, and we are not even close to unraveling all its mysteries. We still cannot confirm who built this amazing city and why it was suddenly deserted. All of this means that the city has been shrouded in an aura of mystery for millennia, intriguing not only researchers but also everyone who has visited or read about it. This pillar stands 7.3 meters tall and is an ancient monument located in the Qutb Minar complex in the outskirts of Delhi. An inscription on the pillar's surface states that it was erected in honor of one of India's most powerful rulers, King Chandragupta II, for his victory over Central Asia. The main mystery of the iron pillar lies in its resistance to corrosion. Despite being made of pure iron in 415 AD, it still shows no signs of rust. This unusual phenomenon has given rise to many theories, but none of them are definitive. Some suggest that ancient blacksmiths possessed advanced metalworking technologies that have been lost over time. Others believe that the pillar might have been cast from some special meteorite iron. Still, others hypothesize that the pillar in Delhi is the creation of an unknown civilization. Residents of India regard the iron pillar with reverence, believing that it can heal ailments and grant the wishes of those who stand with their backs to it and wrap their arms around it. However, this has become difficult today due to the fence erected around the monument for its preservation. In the Temple of Hathor at the Upper Egyptian Temple complex of Dendera, there is a stone relief carving. This carving is most often referred to as the Dendera lamp. This relief has sparked debates among archaeologists and historians worldwide. A Norwegian electrical engineer was the first to suggest that this image depicted an electric lamp, and this hypothesis caught public attention. It is easy to see why someone might think this image represents a lamp, as it indeed resembles a modern lighting system. Another reason why people consider it a lamp is that it would explain the absence of soot deposits in most of the tombs found. Why use oil lamps and light fires if there is something more efficient? But if this is indeed the case, where did the ancient Egyptians get the knowledge to create such advanced technology for their time? Of course, Egyptologists have another explanation for this image. The structure itself was named the Womb of Nut, after the sky goddess. The image represents a lotus flower, and the filament emerging from it depicts a snake. According to Egyptologists, this image reflects one of the many creation myths of ancient Egypt. Despite this explanation, many pseudoscientists and conspiracy theorists worldwide still believe that the Dendera lamp proves that the ancient Egyptians were able to use electricity. Regardless of the true meaning of the images, they continue to attract many people from all over the world who wish to see this unusual carving in one of Egypt's most fascinating places. In 1944, a 10-year-old boy named Newton Anderson from Buckhannon, West Virginia, dropped a piece of coal while retrieving it from the basement. The coal split open, and a brass bell fell out, revealing an astonishing artifact. A brass bell that is presumed to be over 300 million years old. This small bell, found in a coal layer, raises many questions. The coal from West Virginia was formed around 298 million years ago, while brass was only used by humans during the Bronze Age, thousands of years later. In the 1960s, the bell was analyzed by scientists who confirmed its handmade nature and determined its composition, identifying an alloy of copper and zinc with traces of tin, arsenic, iodine, and selenium. This mysterious artifact continues to provoke numerous questions and debates. Could this bell really be that ancient? Many scientists doubt its authenticity, and its origin remains a mystery. The Antikythera mechanism is a mysterious artifact that simply does not match its time. At first glance, it looks like an ancient gear, but this artifact makes people rethink history. This device, covered in a thick layer of marine deposits, was discovered at a shipwreck site off the coast of Antikythera, in 1900, after lying underwater for about 2,000 years. Scientists concluded that they were looking at an advanced computational machine from antiquity, allowing for calendar calculations as well as displaying the movements of planets. The estimated date of the device's creation is the 2nd century BC. Unlike most devices created at that time, the Antikythera mechanism has remarkable precision. The internal mechanism of this device is so precise and complex that many are inclined to believe that this ancient computer was a gift to ancient civilizations from someone from the future. For over a century, leading scientists from various countries have not been able to agree on the origin of this invention. One thing is indisputable. The discovery of the Antikythera mechanism is proof that ancient civilizations possessed unique knowledge, and this is just a small part of their legacy. Let's talk about the most controversial and well-known structures left by one of the most powerful and outstanding ancient civilizations, the pyramids of Egypt. For many decades, people have been trying to unravel the mystery of the Egyptian pyramids. Many believe that the ancient Egyptians received help in constructing the pyramids. How did they manage to lift these enormous blocks hundreds of meters high, and how did they give the structures such perfectly symmetrical geometric shapes? When inside a pyramid, people are amazed at how technologically advanced the ancient Egyptian structures are compared to modern buildings. Additionally, the images, hieroglyphs, and frescoes left by the Egyptians resemble humanoid beings and UFOs. There is a theory that the people of Egypt most likely took extraterrestrials for gods and worshipped them. The pyramids themselves might have been used by an extraterrestrial civilization as a portal for flights, as they possessed significant energy to amplify signals. Or perhaps we simply underestimate the capabilities and ingenuity of our ancestors. For a long time, our ancestors relied on deities. They believed that earthquakes and floods were punishments from angry gods. Today, we just need to turn on the TV or look at our phones to immediately get the latest weather news. We even have precise instruments capable of recording ground movement. But these instruments were developed only in recent years, so when archaeologists came across this artifact, they were astonished. It may seem like an ordinary ancient wine vase, but it is actually a seismometer, and moreover, an ancient seismometer. This instrument was created by the Chinese astronomer Zhang Heng in 132 AD. It detects ground movement during an earthquake, and although it could not predict when an earthquake would occur, it could indicate the direction from which it came. This is one of the strangest artifacts found so far, because despite significant progress, we still cannot replicate this ancient seismometer. The jug is made of bronze, with a diameter of about 1.8 meters. On the outside of the vessel, there were 8 dragon heads facing the 8 main compass directions. Under the dragon heads, at the bottom of the vessel, sat 8 frogs with open mouths and heads tilted back. The contents of the jug are unknown, but it is suspected that it contained some kind of pendulum mechanism. When an earthquake occurred, even if it was too weak to be felt, the pendulum swung with the trembling earth and knocked a metal ball from the mouth of the dragon into the mouth of the frog. The direction from which the ball fell indicated where the tremors came from. The falling ball also made a loud sound when it landed in the frog's mouth, warning of the earthquake. This is a simple device compared to the instruments we have today, but the sheer precision and ingenuity needed to create this instrument are astonishing. The Betz sphere is a steel ball found by the Betz family on Fort George Island in Florida in 1974. The entire sphere was made of metal and had a diameter of about 20 centimeters, slightly smaller than a bowling ball. This find might have remained just a piece of junk if the sphere hadn't started to move. The Betz family claimed that after finding the sphere, it began to move on its own and emit strange sounds. According to the family, even their dog was frightened by the sphere, hiding and avoiding it. Thus began the investigation into the mystery of the Betz sphere. Upon closer examination, scientists discovered that the sphere emitted radio waves and was surrounded by a magnetic field. This led many people to believe that the sphere was alien technology that somehow ended up on our planet. Some scientists think that the Betz sphere could be a natural phenomenon resulting from geological processes and possibly connected to Earth's magnetic field, which causes movement and the emission of radio waves. There is a theory that this sphere is not unique and that similar spheres exist, indicating human creation. The Betz sphere remains a mysterious object surrounded by various theories and speculations. In 2015, a group of Russian researchers studying ancient cultures in the Volgograd region discovered about 10 stone discs, including one giant disc 4 meters in diameter. These discs contained a significant amount of tungsten, a high-density metal widely used in space and military technology. The indeterminate age of the finds and their strange shape, resembling flying saucers, have led ufologists to believe that these artifacts may be further evidence of alien visits. The question of why people link ancient civilizations with extraterrestrial beings remains a mystery. Here is another type of stones that have captured the attention of researchers and archaeologists around the world. These are the Ica stones, named after their place of discovery, Ica, Peru. The first stone was found in 1966 by local archaeologists. The Ica stones gained international fame thanks to the work of Professor of Medicine Dr. Javier Cabrera, who dedicated his life to these stones and spent almost his entire fortune acquiring them. The Javier Cabrera Scientific Museum still operates in the city of Ica, housing about 15,000 of these stones. What makes these stones so special are the engravings on each of them. The drawings engraved on the oxidized surface of the stones challenge virtually all established science on the origin of our planet, humans, and animal species on Earth. The stones depict humans coexisting with dinosaurs, and on some, you can even see people riding dinosaurs like horses. Because of these illustrations, many believe that those who carved these stones observed dinosaurs and lived among them. But how is this possible? After all, nearly 65 million years passed between the extinction of the dinosaurs and the appearance of humans on Earth. This has led many people to think that the Ica stones were created by a time traveler. However, the Ica stones have also led many to question our history. There are skeptics who doubt the authenticity of the Ica stones, suggesting they were created not in prehistoric times, but by modern people. But if that's the case, how did they manage to create such a vast number of carved stones, and why did they do it? What you see here is the sarcophagus of Pakal the Great, and it is perhaps the only such burial found within the pyramidal structures of the Mayan Indians. The debate around the image on the lid of the sarcophagus still rages on. It is believed to depict Pakal the Great's journey through the underworld. At the same time, many researchers argue that the image resembles a schematic representation of a technical apparatus preparing for a spaceflight. In the image, you can see the ruler sitting on a throne, operating a spacecraft. One of his feet is on a pedal, his hands are controlling a transmission module, and his nose is connected to a breathing apparatus. Frankly, such a complex diagram can give rise to many interpretations, so it's no wonder that many people believe that Pakal left our planet through an ancient spaceship. Many reject this theory, but there are still fervent supporters who believe that the image on the sarcophagus of the Great King hints at the existence of ancient astronauts. Which of these ancient artifacts intrigued you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. And to not miss the next exciting stories, don't forget to subscribe and like. Your support is our inspiration. Thank you for your attention, and see you soon.